Welcome back, PetaPixel viewers. Chris Niccolls here. Today we've got an interesting video. Jaron, our editor-in-chief, tasked us with a challenge. What is the least amount of money you could spend on gear and still accomplish a professional portrait shoot? Let's find out. Now on our YouTube channel, we're often showing the latest and greatest gear, and I know that can get very expensive. Because this project is definitely budget oriented, we thought, why not go with used equipment? And then of course, we know the best place to get used equipment. That's why we're ordering our stuff for this project from KEH.com. And KEH.com is really the best place to get used gear. I mean, first off, you're gonna save a ton of money. In some cases, like 40% off of what the retail value would be new. And you know that their experts are gonna thoroughly inspect all the gear. They've checked through it, they've tested it. So you know that when it arrives, it's gonna be in fantastic shape. You also get a 21-day return policy and 180-day guarantee that the products are gonna work just fine. And the best thing about using KEH.com for our project is that they have such an expansive warehouse of gear, so I know that I can find exactly what I want. And I could see on the website that this was all in stock. It was going to ship right away, so we knew we were going to get it quickly. That's why KEH.com is our preferred used equipment partner. So for this project, I knew that I wanted to find a good, fast 50mm 1.8, and I knew that it would be affordable. I also decided, let's go with a Sony product, the a6300. It's compact, but it does have a decent 24 megapixel sensor, and it also has a very early version of Sony's now much lauded eye autofocus. And I think that'd be really handy for somebody who's just starting out to make sure that their focus will always be right on the eye. So Sony a6300 body, that gives us the eye autofocus. I found a really nice Sony FE 50mm 1.8. It's super affordable and should be great for portraits. At first I was thinking, why don't we go with something like just bargain basement, like Canon Rebel, T2i used or T5 or something like that with a 50 1.8. But looking at the price, I was still able to keep everything under $500 going with the Sony kit, getting that better autofocus. And so this is our kit that we're gonna play with today. It's come in this cute little neoprene cage bag, and there's our Sony a6300 with 50mm 1.8. Interesting note, Jordan actually used this as his family camera. He originally got it because it had decent, at the time, video capabilities, but that eye autofocus actually turned out to be really good for, you know, kids' portraits and family stuff. So it is certainly a capable camera. Now, that's the first part of our kit. The second part of this experiment, we need a professional portrait photographer. So we've got a really good friend. He's gonna be coming to help us out. Let's meet him now. All right, so we're joined by Nathan Elson. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us again. You've always helped us out, and you're a fantastically talented portrait photographer. Okay. You are, so you're perfect for this experiment, okay? So I'm gonna give you the camera now, okay? It's a Sony a6300 with a classic 50mm 1.8, okay? Hopefully skill wins out over technology.
I mean, it's a beautiful piece of gear.
No, it's not. No. It's a hideous camera and you know it. And this is back in the days when Sony interface was pretty rough. But what I wanted you to test on here, this camera does have eye detect AF. It was like one of the first Sonys to ever have it. So you got to hold down a button. It's going to focus right. I know you're like one of those focus recompose.
100%.
Because you're over 40 and you learned on a film rebel. But try for us today, okay?
I'll try it.
All right.
I might hate it.
Okay, let's watch a dinosaur enter the modern era and see if he can survive. So you can't have a successful portrait shoot without incredible talent. Cameron Sahlstrom, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Definitely check out her work. Absolutely. Here's her Instagram, and I'll let you guys shoot and just tell me where to reflect light, all right?
Amazing.
All right.
Yeah, just let it all play off that way. Perfect. It's one of those things where I just don't trust it to actually catch focus.
This was really the first camera where the eye detect actually worked right on the iris, and it means you're free to compose without having to lose your composition. These were like the worst menus. Like, Sony has come so far. Please don't let this bias your thoughts about Sony, because So when you're not rocking a Sony a6300, Nathan, what are you normally shooting on?
I've been shooting on the Nikon Z6 II for about the last 6 months now. And again, it's a 24 megapixel camera. It's not, you know, the highest end of what Nikon has to offer, but it does everything I need it to.
You take beautiful photos.
Thank you. Don't run into that.
Jordan. Stop, Jordan. Do you ever find legitimate reasons where you're like, I do want more than 24 megapixels?
No, I don't care about the pixel size at all.
Never,
no.
hey? Yeah.
I've never once had somebody be like, I wish this was bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I actually enjoy the smaller file sizes and chew up so much space on everything. Turn more towards me a little bit. Yeah, play off that a little. Chris, I'm gonna get you just to bring in a little bit of fill here.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I know we're trying to keep everything on a budget, but I guess we should tell the viewers you gotta like factor in like the cost for crew, right? Like I'm going to charge you my day rate, and then yeah,
that's cool. Oh, so you guys are paying my day rate then, too, right?
Oh, your day rate's probably a little bit more than mine. You know, we're all
might
friends.
be a touch.
We're all friends
Just
here,
a
right?
touch. Yeah.
It's just a fun creative collaboration. We don't need to bring money into this.
All right,
yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm happy to hold this reflector for you.
Back it up.
Oh, okay. So Nathan, in order to get a really effective portrait shot, what would you say is like most important thing? Is it technology?
No, it's 100% lighting. Like, I mean, we've got an old camera here,
Right.
obviously, but right now, essentially what we're doing is just chasing light around, looking for little pockets of light that are reflecting off of buildings, different things like that, because lighting is what creates interest. That's
Right.
what makes everything in a portrait. You can have basic camera gear and still make really good portraits if you understand light and how it works.
I know in this challenge we said like no professional lighting, no additional lighting. So
Correct.
are you finding that to be difficult, a challenge? Or?
No, the only thing with lighting like this is that you're chasing it. So it's one of those things where it's here and then it's gone very, very
Right.
quickly. So like this, we're about to walk into.
There we go.
Oh God!
That,
no,
yes,
God.
yeah.
Focus.
So yeah, one of the things that's awesome about having, you know, these cheap little 50s, because Chris, what did you pay for this?
I think it was $80.
80 bucks.
Yeah.
And so you get on a crop sensor, essentially a 75 mil equivalent. And I mean, we've done everything today from shooting in nice and tight to full body to 3/4 length. It's super versatile, just a lens that kind of does it all.
And so Nathan, do you feel like someone has to have a 1.4 aperture lens to do portrait work?
No, not at all. Awesome, that looks simple.
It's okay, it's used.
Tell me you got that on camera.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It's still good. Let's see if it still works.
I think so. What's the worst that could happen?
It works. That was the best.
So Nathan, first off, fun shoot. Thanks so much for
Absolutely.
helping us out today. Really appreciate it. So let's break down our shoot today and all the stuff that we're learning. I think there's a lot that we covered. First off, using an old camera like this,
Yep.
right? Do you need to have a full frame sensor to do professional work? Do you even need to have a modern camera to do
No, I don't think so at all. Like, I mean, for me, I have a Fuji X Pro 2.
Right.
And I had shot tons of ads and things like that on that camera. And I believe these are
very similar era of
sensors.
sensor.
Yeah. So it's, you know, in terms of whether or not you need, you know, crop sensor or full frame, I don't think that plays into it whatsoever.
Lighting far more important. You know,
Lighting
like
is
good
everything.
technique.
Yeah. I mean, you can have the nicest camera in the world, but if you don't understand light, you're not going to get good photos. But you can have a camera that's not great, but if you understand light, your photos are going to come out looking a lot better.
So I know you haven't shot, as you said, ever on a Sony.
No, I have not. No.
Body for
First time
photography.
ever, yes.
And this is an old one back when the interface was pretty rough. I mean, how was that experience focusing?
I
on
mean, the focus, I don't feel missed at all. It actually operated surprisingly efficiently.
So basic gear, can you get professional looking photos? Does someone who's starting out trying to do high-end professional portrait work with gear like this to start out?
Yeah, I mean, there's obvious cases to be made for certain levels of gear to be used in
Right.
certain scenarios, but for the average person who is just kind of getting into photography, shooting portrait work, different things like that, something like this is a great place to start. If you're being on the more budget conscious side of
Right.
things, this will get you where you need to go. Nobody's going to see your images and be like, oh, that was shot on an old 6300. It's, you know, nobody's going to be like, why aren't you shooting on something newer or something like
Right.
that? This will get the job.
The photos
done.
will speak for themselves.
100%.
So then key things are learning technique, you know, training yourself to understand how to work with models.
Yes.
Having good staff and models that you can work with as well.
Yeah.
And then learning light.
And I mean, yeah, it just comes down to an experience thing. So the more that you have an experience in working with models or subjects or whoever it is,
Yeah.
and the more experience you have in learning light and how it operates, the more time you can spend then shooting and not having to concentrate so much on those other things.
Right.
And therefore, again, gear doesn't become such a big
Nice.
part of the picture.
I think we learned a lot today. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for helping us out. We always love having you on the show. And
it's a blast.
definitely check out Nathan Elson's YouTube channel. Beautiful stuff that you actually teach a lot of the things that you're
I do.
saying are important to learn.
Specifically lighting.
There you go.
A lot
So
about lighting.
Nathan's a great resource to learn those skills, and always good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for having me.
PetaPixel viewers, thanks for joining us as well. Definitely check out the podcast. It's on the exact same channel. Do you listen to our podcast?
I do listen to your
Yeah,
podcast. I'm not all of them, but I have definitely listened to your podcast. It's a good one.
I appreciate
the three of you do well together.
Well, you can find
I even knew how many people there was, yeah.
Oh, he's not lying. Yeah. You can check that out on all your favorite podcasting apps. Just search for PetaPixel Podcast. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks to Nathan. Check out his work, and we'll see you guys soon with more on PetaPixel.